everybody, and welcome to Life After Death and Beyond. I'm James. I'm part of my good friend Kellee White. Happy New Year, Kellee White.
Hi, James. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody.
Everybody listening and watching. And it's it's our first broadcast of the new year. And
Yes.
It's funny. I thought it was 2015. Now it's 2025.
Yeah.
Where are we? What are we? So it's gonna be. We hope everybody had nice holidays and things went well for everybody. It's a rough time of the year, but we all get through it. And
Yes.
Kellee, how are your holidays? Okay. Yeah.
Well, they were, I think, what we would call a typical New Year's and typical Christmas. Let's see. People got sick. Planes were canceled. And all in all, we all got along. I'll say that. We all got along. So that was the best part.
The holidays are wonderful family teaching time.
Yes. Right?
Lots of opportunities.
Yes. Yeah. Opportunities for growth. That's so true.
Yeah. It's true. Holiday season.
Oh my gosh. Well, how was your holiday?
It was really mellow and chill. It was good until a friend of mine called me up and was having a little issue with the police, and it was a very strange situation, and she kind of had a breakdown. So she ended up in a hospital at 1550. Is that what they call
5150.
Observing them.
Yeah.
So that was that. And God bless her.
Well,
that was another wonderful time, and what do you do? But I am excited because I just started my new book.
And it's the perfect time to do this. So tell us, can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. Because tonight's show I'm going to dedicate to the beginning of my book, because we'll get more into it. But it's called Medium Well Done.
So perfect.
That's my autobiography. And it starts off with me as a toddler. My earliest memory, it starts from that point of view. So, and the book continues on it goes on to present day. And it's very interesting to write it, because when one writes about as you know, Kellee, very well from what you wrote in your book, and you might have had this, you go into a recall cycle. Like you recall things you never would have thought of. And I was 2 years old, and I'm looking at my father's shoulders. I remember seeing the clock in the living room. I remember the cracked mantelpiece. I remember the color of the carpet. And it wasn't until I started doing the book did those things come into my consciousness.
So it just started getting clearer and clearer?
Clearer and clearer and clearer. And even there's a part in the book, in the beginning, second chapter, where I'm in a stroller. And I remember my Buster Brown shoes. And I was banging the bottom of the stroller, the carriage, I guess it's a stroller carriage. And I was banging my feet on my wooden shoes, my Buster Brown shoes, on that metal thing for the foot. And I remember it said Babyland. And I remember when I was doing that, I got to remember this. I've got to remember this.
Do you remember why you were banging your feet?
I was frustrated being in there. I wanted to get out of it and walk, but I couldn't walk yet.
So you wanted to go.
Yeah. And the first opening of the book, my father's putting me in bed, and I hold a description of, this monster is holding me up. I was a young kid. I was like 16 months old or 18 months old. And it's really interesting. Remember, they put me in the crib. I didn't want to be in the crib. I wanted to stay in the big room with all the adults, and they were laughing. I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be thrown into that crib. And that's how it starts. And it's really interesting because I'm a night owl. And I was like put to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. So it was interesting how those things come back, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing this book, and it's going to be very quickly done. And I'm writing a TV show, a reality show, which I'm not going to can't say anything about, but it's going to be pretty good. So we'll see.
It's going to be really interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
So it'll do. As we talked about, my book talked about having changed consciousness, changed people's awareness of life after death.
Completely.
And this reality show will do a whole other changer. And I'm just channeling it all. I'm just the vessel for it all,
Wow.
It's fun, exciting. It's good. It's a very creative outlet. I'm done with my gardens, so I got to do something else. So.
Well, it's a perfect year for you to do this.
So tell us about this year. Astrologically, you know a lot about that. And I keep on saying all my friends over the holidays, Kellee mentioned this. Kellee mentioned this. Tell us about what we'd expect from this point.
This is going to be a really interesting year, because tonight we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. And it's interesting, James, because did you know that people make resolutions really for themselves to improve themselves. And that's why we make resolutions, to improve ourselves. So this is going to be a place that we'll get into of the
No.
tips to choose, how to make your resolutions, how to keep your resolutions, because this is a 9-year. 2025 in numerology is a 9-year.
And that's the endings of things, isn't it?
It's completeness. Yeah, it's a completeness. It means actually personal growth. It means introspection, spiritual development. So
I'm a 9 in numerology. I know that.
you're a 9 in numerology, but
path.
this year, James, you are a 22. So if we take your birthday, August, and you're the 23rd, that's 8 plus 2 plus 3 plus 9 is a 22. And a 22 year is a huge year, and it means the master builder. It means the ability to manifest large ideas and ambitious goals. So that's
well, this makes sense. That's what I'm doing.
It means you tunnel in your vision and you work really hard and you bring in a bunch of practicality and you'll get all of this done. And a year from now, we'll be talking about your new book.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to get done fast. I have a feeling. Yeah. Although I know Spirit's been working on this forever, but now it's finally coming to the physical. But I know that it feels like I know it's been there, and then you got to bring it into the physical.
It's very true, and that's what will happen. And it's funny, James, because this year I'm in 11 this year. So for me, an 11 is it's a spiritual awakening. It means, and in my goal this year will be to help bring others to spiritual awakening.
Oh, Kelly, I have a feeling you're going to reach a whole new audience of people, a whole new audience. And I also get a feeling you're going to be in European audiences big. And I even think out of that, there's going to be some workshops, but I think you're going to open up to a whole new audience. And I don't know what that means, but I just feel that.
Oh, thanks, James. I think so too. That makes sense. I appreciate you saying that. So from the perspectives of that, it's a 9-year, which is a completion year. And on top of that, it's also the year of the wooden snake. And the year of the wood snake in Chinese New Year, which starts on January 29th, so just in a couple of weeks here, it means transformation. So let's look at this year as a completion, going inward, spirituality, because also this year we have a couple of big things that will happen that will make us all go inward. And so if you're looking for resolutions for the year, a good resolution might be, to go inward, frankly, spend some time in meditation, spend some time going inward, learning about yourself, because this is a big year because we have 4.
Let me interrupt you. I'm sorry, because I was just saying, it's come to my head that I got to say this, is that when you start going inside now and you start working on yourself now, starting now, you're going to need that for later on in the year.
Yes, you will need this. Yes, you will. It makes a lot of sense, because about springtime. So if you start the practice now of going inward and making some changes, making some important changes in your life, by the time we get to spring, we're going to have 4 planets that are changing signs at the same time. That's very, very unusual. And so because of that, it's going to be like disorienting energy. And because of the disorienting energy, it will be a great time to practice like going inward, getting really comfortable with yourself,
being grounded, knowing who you are, having awareness of yourself.
Yes. And in fact, so this year, one of the things that people really will be working on will be health and helping to avoid negativity. So having positive thoughts, like really positive thoughts, like waking up in the morning and having incredible thoughts of joy, or thoughts of being just of positivity. That's the word, positivity.
I just think everybody, and I love this idea of everybody having, and everybody who's watching or listening to this, get a journal. And I want you to call it Joy Journal, Joy, Joy Journal.
I'm going to write that down.
Joy Journal, because today I was talking to a friend of mine who was visiting, and we talked about, and he said something about enjoy that. I said, wait a minute, let's look at that. Enjoy. So joy is that energy you bring to yourself. Enjoy, be in joy. And joy, of course, is part of the journey. Journey. Joy is part of it. So live in joy. And I think if you have that intention and you have a journal next to you on your bed, I do, and this is my side table. And I wake up and I think first thing is joy. And whatever comes to you that morning, write it down. guarantee you, months after this, maybe in a year, you look back and say, wow, did I write that? Wow, that's happened in my life. Wow. And it changes your frequency. When you live in joy, it changes the magnetic fields around you. Love, joy, compassion. It's all that high vibrational frequency. And life changes. And joy also helps you to know yourself.
And positivity attracts positivity. It's like a magnet.
Exactly.
And every morning, tell yourself every morning, today is going to be a good day. And the brighter we shine, the more good things we attract.
Kellee, I wake up every morning. I'm practically every morning because I see my doggy, of course, first.
Yeah.
And I say, how can I change someone's life today?
So would that be a resolution, in a sense, for some other people? How can I bring joy to somebody?
Resolutions to me, we talk about typical New Year resolutions, but I almost want to say it'd be better to have a daily resolution. Follow your resolution up every day by either having the joy journal or having a saying that you use every morning. Like, I use healthy am I, happy am I, holy am I, my mantra, or whose life can I change today? Or let me see God in everybody, or I'm going to bring love to myself and to each other. Whatever simple phrase you can use and carry on that resolution, because the resolution this year, right, should be one that is, again, bringing you to a spiritual sense of yourself and transforming yourself with that identity, awareness of your spiritual self. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, James. And make a difference in the world.
Make a difference in the world. Yeah.
Because as you we talked about this earlier today, the two of us, and you said it has a rippling effect.
Exactly right. There's a rippling effect. Everything is energy, and it's waves of energy, and your thoughts create. Thoughts are real. So as a clairvoyant, sometimes, not all the time, I'm able to see people's thoughts. Lately, I've been able to see people. This is so weird. Not weird, but great. But because I've opened myself up to this spirit, let me see, let me feel, let me be. And I just open my mind up to get out of the way. And I'm beginning to see rays of light surround people. They're auric fields, and I'm seeing levels of the fields around them. And then within that, I see thoughts, particles of what they have, what they're creating with their thoughts. And I'm able to then sense where the energy in their space, in their auric field, is someone else's energy or their energy.
Oh.
That's really good, that discernment, to learn how to discern other people's energy and your own energy. Because we tend to, especially empaths and sensitives, carry on other people's energy without even knowing it sometimes.
Oh, that's so true.
Part of this year's revolution, you all should be really work toward learning the discernment of your energy, who you are as a soul, and outside of what's foreign into your field.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So think of yourself like a map or this satellite dish, whatever you are, and you can see things and feel things. And then think of yourself as a field, as a space around you. Because you're not here in the body, it's not. You're all here, and that's where you want to have that relationship with those fields around you, and start really, whether you want to use your imagination, just sense, and just feel it. And there's no right or wrong. Just have a good time of imagination.
Ooh, I love this. Okay, I think that's a great idea. Wow.
Good way to start the new year with that awareness and putting yourself outside yourself into that field. And it also, with Kellee, I've told you this before, and I've talked to a lot of my friends last year, this year, past 2 years. I think that, when we talked about it, I tend to hang out with people, or tend to be attracted to people who know themselves.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's really important to know yourself, to your own self be true. And I think that's part of the reason we come back here, is to know yourself as a spiritual being, have a human experience. And all these human experiences we have force us to go inside and understand our soul self, right? Have that relationship.
Yes. And this is a wonderful year to do that, James, to do that work.
Yeah.
To go in with. I was listening to the Today Show yesterday, or a couple of days ago, and Daniel Pink was on. And Daniel Pink is an author. They had two authors on that I thought were fabulous.
We're going to try to have him on our show, yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book called The Power of Regret. And so he said, look back at the year of 2024. And he said, we can learn from regret. So regret maybe what you did, or regret maybe what you didn't do, what you could have done. And then he goes on to say, regret feels bad, but what is the lesson that I can extract from that? And then do something different and move on, which I thought was just wonderful. I mean, you want to have some compassion for when you do, if you look back with regret, or if you look back, I could have done something, or I should have done something, or whatever it is. But then to be able to understand, what did you learn from all of this, and then to move on. I think moving on is key.
So many people go through the emotions. They don't realize they're learning from it. They just go through it. And if you take the time to realize, I'm learning something from this lesson.
Yes.
Every experience I'm going through every day is a lesson, opportunity to learn something different.
Yes.
Out of a different lens, and to, they see things from a very different perspective. And, we got to be very, very careful to balance our emotional body with the mental body, with the spiritual and the physical bodies, because that all has to be in balance. And as you were telling me also, this year we have 7 planets in Pisces, right?
We have 7 planets on March 29th in Vedic astrology. They will be in Pisces, and that is unheard of. It's unheard of.
Yeah, so that means that we all have to have balance and stability in the emotional body. And when Kellee suggested going within, that's really important for that.
It has to do with this year. 2025 is a year of transformation. It's a year of ending. It's a year of change. And it really does mean to go inward this year.
Yeah, and I did this meditation a while back last year, and it's from Brian Weiss, a good friend of mine, Brian Weiss, and it's called the Mountain Meditation. And I'm just going to vaguely talk about it here. That it was that you realize that you're a tree, right? You're in the side of this mountain, and your roots are there in that mountain, and the seasons change. So summer, it's very, very hot there. It's very hard to get moisture, but then, after the summer comes the fall. So everything dies off, right? And then the winter, and sometimes snow comes. The snow falls upon the tree, and the conditions change. And then we go back to spring and things, and renewal and new life, and so forth. And it's very interesting because the conditions change, but you remain the same. That tree is always the same.
Ooh.
Just change. The same thing in our lives. And if you take that time to be grounded in yourself, that strength of the tree, who you are, and things can change around in the outside world, which they will this year. No doubt about it. They'll changes like we've never seen before, probably. But if you have that sense of who you are, and you're going to be stuck and rooted and grounded, you'll know your truth. You'll know who you are. And things will go on all around. Like, wow. It's like, wow, you be in that sense of observation. Like, wow, that's interesting how that's happening. But it's much better than going, oh my God, I can't take it. Because that's the emotions getting hold.
Yeah, as I used to say to my daughter when she was younger, hysteria is not an option. Like, now you can do a lot of things. You're not going there.
Yeah.
But there was another guest on the Today Show that I just love too, James, and her name is Annie Lamont, and she's a fabulous, fabulous writer, Annie Lamont. And she's written many books. One of my favorites is Traveling Mercies, Some Thoughts on Faith, which is a great book. But she wrote a new book, and it's called Somehow Thoughts on Love.
Oh, great.
Thoughts on Love. So she tells this story that there was a priest that was working with Bill Wilson. So Bill Wilson founded AA. If you remember, like Friends of Bill founded AA.
What year was that founded, Kellee? In the 40s, was it? 40s or 50s?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I should have known that. Was it?
I think so.
Wow. So the story goes that this priest he'd say, sometimes I think that heaven is a new pair of glasses. So put on a new pair of glasses when you need to see something differently. See love everywhere. And then she goes on to say, we are love with skin on. We are loved beyond all comprehension. Sure. We do loving things. And then she goes on to say, taking action, just take the action of love. And then she says, insight will follow. So just take the action now. Later, you'll figure out the inside of it.
It's very true. Very true.
Right. But then she said something that you'd say all the time. She said, do loving things. Smile at 10 people, and that will put you in a good mood. How many times have you said that?
It changes the energy. Yeah, it really, really does. Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very true. Yeah. Did you ever hear that scientific research, I guess, was on 60 Minutes years ago, that if someone hurts you, says something negative to you, it takes 20 positive affirmations, 20 positive things to say to neutralize that one negative.
Yes. It's actually more than that. I think it's like 90. Yeah.
So let's just give love. Let's just be in love. Forget the negativity, positivity, even if you can't figure things out, which a lot of people go through things in this life. We all do. And, things happen. You go, well, how could God have done that? Now, why did that happen to me? How could I get that? Why was I fired from this job? Why did I lose my child? Why did this happen? And we can't figure out why these things are going on. There's a reason. I believe there's a reason behind everything. I think it's in divine creation. And I think that we just, we don't know it here in this three-dimensional world. We're kind of closed off to it. But I think there's always something behind it. I've never believed in accidents.
Oh,
what do you think, Kellee?
No, I've not at all. No,
free will, free choice, yes.
And we have free choice, or free will, but no, I don't believe in accidents at all. But James, you and I were talking about faith, and you and I have always had faith. And I think talk about this year. This is a year. If you don't have faith, start to cultivate faith. Because tell everybody what you were telling me this afternoon about. You didn't know where your life was going, but you always had this belief or knowing.
Yeah, ever since, because now I was telling Kellee, writing my book, and I'm reliving lots of my life. And in my 20s, when I first moved to California, I was promised a job on Hill Street Blues by a producer.
That was a big show, everybody, back in the day. It was
a big show on NBC. It was a big show. And I met the producers because I had a degree in broadcasting from San Francisco State. And I met him there. And he said, come down by July 8th in Los Angeles, and you'll get a job as a production assistant. And I'm like, oh, it's amazing. Oh, my God. And this shows how the spirit world also works behind the scenes, pulling strings. And we never know how things are going to end up because we really jumble. It's like, what the heck? Because it's not a linear type of thing. So I went down July 8th. My mother had a stroke in New York, and she had aphasia, so she couldn't speak, and she was in the hospital. And I had to go to LA to follow my dream. And I thought, well, should I stay with her or drive cross country and get there on time? What should I do? And I knew she would want me to go. So I did. Got to LA, and make a long story short, I went to the production office of Hill Street Blues, and they said, oh, that man was not right. That wasn't right. We don't hire people that way. And there were, of course, no cell phones or anything. I left my number, never called. And I was stuck in LA, not knowing a person, not knowing the city, nothing. I
mean, that alone could have stopped you in your tracks.
It could have stopped in my tracks. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm in Hollywood, and I got to do broadcasting. I got to do something. And I felt I had to be there. And I took many different temporary jobs in hospitals and law firms and advertising agencies, all different types of things. And I had this inner sense. And it's funny to be psychic, right? There was an inner sense I had to be here. And I had to go down all these roads to get somewhere later on. And I just had that sense of it. Nothing psychic, just innate sense of I had to be there. Everybody should have that sense, that resonance of I belong here or I don't belong here. When you meet somebody, do you relate to the person or should you get away from that person? You go into a room and you feel that room, like this feels weird to me. I got to get out of this room, or, oh, I love this room. It's enveloping me. And so that's our intuition. And of course, I guess I was keen. My intuition was pretty keen, even though I wasn't aware of it. But again, through a series of long runarounds and jobs, and I mean, it was pretty wild. It really, I was a runner. The first job I had was a runner, which means I worked at a production company, bad one, and but I had to deliver scripts and legal documents from one side of LA, like it's called
a real runner,
runner, basically, an errand runner, and that's when we had the Thomas Guide map book,
right?
So you had to look up where you're going, and I had to go over the mountain there, Laurel Canyon, and all this 12 times a day in my little used car, just put. And I realized later on, I said, wow, that's interesting because that taught me about how to get around LA. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to get around LA. So I look in hindsight, oh, that's why that happened. And the legal stuff, then I ended up being a contract specialist for Paramount Studios,
wow,
and so forth and so on. And met my medium friend who taught me about my work. And it happens in ways, but I always had an innate sense that I came here for a reason. I didn't know what it was, but I really think every one of you should have a sense of I'm here by divine design, and that the universe really conspires for our highest good. Just having that.
Yes.
I may not know why or when or how, but believe me, no one is dropped down here just accidentally. There's a reason, there's a rhyme for you to be here. You're an important ingredient in this recipe.
Do you think it's James because we're older that we understand that now?
I had that same conversation yesterday with someone. I said, is it because I'm older and I can look back? And I think it's part of it. I think it's part of the equation. I think life experiences. I think the relationship with yourself, with your inner self, the faith that you have, that sense of spirituality, whatever you want to call that. whether through religion ways or other ways. I think it's you have to light the flame inside you, and whatever you can illuminate that flame, light that flame, and keep it lit. Keep it lit.
I love that. Maybe
Important.
something that people should do is light a candle every day or something to remember.
Well, it could be, at the end of every year, I have a ritual, and I did it this past year, and I felt really good about it. I have an outdoor fireplace, and I put a fire together, and I sat there on New Year's Eve, 8 o'clock, and I just the fire. I sat there, had a glass of ginger ale and vodka, because Kellee, you told me that was good.
I love
it. Was great. It was great.
Thank you.
Slowly sit and watch the flames, and I looked back at my past year, and so what I did, what I could do differently. I was pretty happy with things, my choices I made, because of course life is a series of choices, and choices are based on either love or fear. And I looked at it, and I saw in my assessment of the year, I saw that a lot of people were pushing their negativity toward me or their emotions and trying to make it to me and mine, and it wasn't mine. It wasn't my energy. And I was aware that I didn't take it, which was great. Set boundaries, realized it was their energy, not mine. And I was pretty happy. And then I made some really incredible choices about this new year. And it started with writing my book, and I started the first day and just kept to it. I got the message, keep to it. And that's what I'm going to do. And one more thing I want to mention too, Kellee, about life happens for us, not to us, Tony Robbins. Thanks, Susan, for sharing that. I think that in New Year's resolutions, so we talk about how to do that. And you want to say something else about that? Was there something else you want to say in New Year's resolutions?
Well, it's interesting because do you know where that whole idea even came from? It actually came from the ancient Babylonians, because they started this 4,000 years ago. They would make promises to their gods, such as returning borrowed tools and paying off debts. And they believed that if they kept their promise, that it would bring them good fortune. So today, New Year's resolutions are made to improve ourselves.
Wow. It's the seeds that you sow.
Yes.
So if you put your seeds in now, they can blossom. And give them plenty of water and fertilizer, sunlight if needed, and watch them grow. And that's a good time right now in January. In your mind, in your sense of who you are, put those seeds together. Pick out the seeds that you want. Use your imagination again, like you're going to a market or Home Depot, and those little seed packs. Just in your mind, pick out some seeds you want. Maybe forgiveness, maybe compassion, maybe peace, maybe introspective. And just imagine you're placing them in a little garden in your own mind. And you can choose any garden you want, how it looks, but it's your garden of the mind, let's say, and plant them maybe different sections and let's see what happens, and maybe do 4 of them or 3 of them, whatever you can remember. And I think that if you work on that all year, it's another way of doing New Year's resolution.
Oh, that's such a good one, James. I mean,
I got a bunch of them.
I was thinking even simple resolutions could really help us for this year, like maybe drinking a little more water every day.
Thank you. That's mine. Yes, I need that.
Is that yours? Isn't that funny? That was one of mine too.
I have to. I don't drink enough, and I have to drink more water. Very true. We all have to.
And another simple one that people could do would be breathing. Remember to breathe. The box breathing is really good because it activates the parasympathetic nervous system and is very calming. So just deep breaths.
And I do that, Kellee, outside when I'm walking Pearl, my doggie. And we play in the afternoon. Have play every day. Play every day. It's really important. I watch my dog to see how to live life. And, she rests. She gets up when she wants to. Usually 7 o'clock every morning because I get up with her. And we say good morning to each other with joy, 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 and love, and love, and love. And I say that affirmation or that statement of my intention, if you will. And then we go out and she goes piddle, bring her in the house, feed her. And then after that, we go out and play. And she wants to go out and play. And I go to the dog park or I go in front of my house. And then, it's this wonderful schedule because she's full of joy and fun. And we all should be that way as best as we can. Think of, unconditional love from the animals. Yeah. And in the afternoon we play, we have joy again. And then at night it's time to rest. I mean, learn a lot from them. But yeah, have more fun, play, be joyful, drink a lot of water. Pay attention to your health, right?
Yes. Oh, and this is a year to pay attention to your health.
Yeah, and I started doing last year I started, but it's really been helpful. And I noticed it in a holiday break when I didn't do it. I started yoga and Pilates back with that again, and it really makes a difference. And I didn't do it for weeks. And I'm like, I started Thursday. I started back like and really need to move. The movement is life. Move every day, whatever you can.
So
walk,
true.
Move
every
day.
I've been doing that every single day now.
I know you ran a mile.
2 miles a day. I'm up 2 miles a day, and I'm get up to 3 miles a day, and I'm getting there. But it's fun. I'm actually enjoying it. I never enjoyed it before.
It sends the endorphins all through you, and it's a very positive thing. And when you're running or exercising, you can think of positive things, positive affirmations, positive things that'll bring you joy in your life. Think of those things. I mean, it's really important. My good friend of mine, one of my best friends here in San Diego, my friend Julie, who I've known for many years, she was single, and I said, well, one day someone will come along. And in her life is always, taking care of others, not having anyone take care of you. And she met a man, and I met him, and I did their charts ahead of time, and they were very compatible. And I said, oh, Julie, this is the love of your life. This is the person. She goes, yeah, I know that. I said, oh, it's obvious. And then her father came to me and said, I created this, made this happen. And that phrase, marriage made in heaven.
Oh my gosh, good for her.
So I said, can I give you a fish at your commitment ceremony? She goes, oh.
Wow, I love it.
She's really happy. So again, joy, and I'm living off her joy. So I'm enjoying it with her love. I'm so happy for her. And I think if we be happy for other people.
Oh my gosh, James, that's a great one for a resolution, actually, for people to think about. Be happy for others.
Other people happy.
Yeah.
If someone's down, whether it's at a cash register, a store, or wherever you are, and they're frowning, like I've run into a lot of people, like maybe a lot of you have, and they're looking down, and I stopped immediately, and I say, "Hi, how are you?" They go, okay, I said, "Love your smile," and they get it that they're actually not smiling. They go, ah. So any way you can do to open them up and bring love and change the vibration, change the frequency. Everybody wants validation. Everybody needs validation. And we don't get enough of it from social media, that a lot of younger people or a lot of social media. So you need to acknowledge the humanness, because that's rare. I think it's real important that we as light workers all start doing that.
Completely agree, James. And people need loving kindness. They need kindness.
Loving kindness is a great song, in loving kindness. Kellee, so when we were talking about New Year's resolutions, I also thought of this today.
Okay.
Maybe they gave me it. That we should look at this new year. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Are you ready for it?
I am.
Because I'm doing it through my book, same thing. A soul perspective. So look at your experiences from a soul point of view. So when I say soul point of view, maybe imagine that you're inside the skin, and the soul is pure love, and you're going to live from a soul's point of view. How does it affect your soul? What does it connect with the other soul? So what would your soul do? What would your soul say?
That's so deep, James.
Divine self. What would you live a soulful? We hear about living a soulful life. Let's start with living a soulful year. So look at everything from a soul perspective, and it really will help you. It'll really help you, especially this year. It'll help to go in, have a relationship with your soul self. And again, going back to that mountain meditation, being the tree, just having that.
Can you give everybody an idea of how that works, how they can do that?
So let's say, a situation comes in, and maybe there's an argument, and you're in the middle, or someone says something to you, and you just want to react. Don't react. Stop. And I think this is a really good year to use what I call the pause button.
Ooh.
A pause button. It's a real good one. So that pause button comes up when there's an irritation, right? So when something irritating you, whether it's people, a situation, the news, whatever, you go and pause, press the pause button, stop, take a few deep breaths, get back to your center, and feel from your soul point of view something within yourself, not what you think in your head, but your heart, because the soul is tucked neatly behind the heart. What does your heart say about that situation? How should you look at it from a soul point of view? And many times I'm learning this lesson. I'm teaching them that. I'm learning something from a different perspective. And that's how you do it. From a heart or soul point of view. What am I learning here? What is the opportunity here? And that way also, Kellee, you just don't go through life, like we were talking about earlier, just go through life, you live life. Because life is
I'm still just loving the pause button.
Oh, you haven't heard that one before?
No.
Oh, I've used that a long time. Yeah.
Pause it's a good button. One.
It's a good one. Pause button. And I always see a red. Remember the show the game board operation?
Sure.
And you press it, the red nose goes off. I think of it like that. Like pause button comes up, and you have to press it and pause. Take 2 or 3 deep breaths. And that
regulates the system.
Regulates the system.
Yeah, and then you could make a conscious choice or a conscious statement.
Yes, and this goes into, Kellee, my love. I'm surprised, Kellee. She has no clue what I'm going to say.
No idea.
So as I'm thinking about the podcast this evening, I'm walking in my office, and I said, the Spirit will give me like a prayer, something I can share with everyone for the new year. I'm walking, I'm just about to go out of my room, and I hear, stop, look. So I grabbed this from my wall. It's something I'm going to read to you all.
I can't wait.
Okay. And you will know what it is. Okay, so you can close your eyes, everybody, if you want to, but here we go. Go placidly and among the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons, their vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not vain affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all rotacity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God. Whatever you conceive him or her it to be, whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its shame, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful. Strive to be happy. And that is the prayer Desiderata.
Desiderata. Wow, James. It's so perfect.
I came to my office and
oh my gosh. People are saying they need a copy of that.
Yeah, you can find it online. It's Desiderata. It's very famous. It was found in a Baltimore church in, let's see, it was found in the Old St. Paul's Church, Baltimore, dated 1692.
Wow. Wow.
You've heard that before, Kellee.
Yeah, I have, but it's always worth listening to, especially at the beginning of the year.
Well, that's why Spirit said, stop. Yeah. Look. Oh.
No, Spirit said, pause.
Hey, Kellee, speaking of people imagining, really working into their soul self and the possibilities of the life this year, I know you have a class coming up, right?
I do have a class. I have a class. It's called Infinite Possibilities, the art of changing your life. Thank you, James. It's January 18th. And I'm teaching
really
this.
Thank
you. I think it really is too. I'm teaching this with Julianne Siegel, and we taught a few classes together, and this is going to be a really great class because January is a time to make resolutions, and it's really a time for new beginnings. So this class is going to help you change your life. It's
and
about.
Kellee, should they bring a notebook too, a journal? Because
We're going to have workout sheets for them,
okay.
and we're going to help everybody understand and overcome their limiting beliefs. Yes, whatever their limiting beliefs that are holding them back. And we're going to give you tools to align your thoughts and your feelings and actions to help create real change. And we're going to give you practical steps to manifest your dreams and to live with intention. So this is going to be quite a class. It's only a 3-hour class, but it will give you a renewed sense of purpose and a renewed sense of empowerment. Because, James, when people start off a new year and they don't know, maybe they have something in mind, but something is limiting them. Something is stopping them from going forward. And so we're going to look at limiting beliefs, and we're going to help you move forward.
Where they come from and their traumas.
Exactly. And we're going to look at all of this, and we're going to give everybody a renewed sense to get them back in alignment for this year, to complete whatever it is they come to do.
Alignment. Yeah. And I heard when you were describing it, Kellee, I heard tools.
Yes, we have all kinds of tools, and
so they'll be able to use those tools for the rest of their life. Their life tools.
Absolutely, life tools. Yeah, it's going to be a really great class.
Doors opening.
Yes. So please join us. It's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time on January 18th. And if you can't take the class and you sign up for it, we'll send it to you when we finish it.
That's great.
And James, you have something coming up.
I have a couple of things I'm going to share with people. On this Friday, I'm doing messages from Spirit, only 20 people.
Okay, 20 people. That's amazing. Do you have space left?
Every single person will get a message.
Wow.
So every single person gets a message.
Do you have space left for this?
I have about, I think, 5 spaces left for this Friday. Yep. And then I'm also my school. I'm having a free gift, which is for the new year. And there it is. Thanks, Renee. Bringing Heaven Home, and it's connecting with the spirit world and learning an easy way of doing it's a meditation that I channeled. Thank you, Renee, doing that. Bring Heaven Home. And I also wanted to mention to everybody, if you haven't been to my school, the JVP School of Mystical Arts, someone mentioned earlier in the comments about taking other people's energy off yours. Mm-hmm. And I have a wonderful, wonderful course for that. And a couple, but the one I want to talk about is a 7-day energy cleanse. And it's 7 days, and it's different techniques and ways and methods for you to use to, what I talked about earlier, discern between your own energy and that of others, and cleanse away old trauma energy from your family, stuff from your childhood. It's cleaning those fields out. It's taking kind of like a windshield and cleaning off the windshield. That's what it's like. So 7-day energy cleanse. And the other one, which is great for the beginning of the year, which I love, it's called the 28 days of transformation.
Great class.
And it was channeled by me one weekend, and Spirit said, whoever takes this course, they should only take it if they will do that every single day. It's like 15 minutes a day, but it's a course that's built upon the day before. So it builds on the day before, and people have loved it. I love it. It's great for a new year. And again, we're talking about renewal and getting in touch with your soul self, and having that relationship with your soul, and being in touch with your own energy. Be
a great time to take that class, James.
Yeah,
great time for this. For doing all of this. Oh my gosh.
When we have the tools here that you and I are providing, they help a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Kellee, I often think, and I know it's true, we talked about it earlier, but I don't believe in accidents. I believe people are where they're at, where they're supposed to be. So people that have gathered here tonight are supposed to hear what we've talked about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe that too.
It's really, really true. I mean, we've done this work for so many years that we know how spirit works in a wonderful ways of pulling strings and putting synchronistic things. I always say a coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous.
Yes. Yes. So true. Oh my gosh. Oh, Anne Margaret says she has that class. Hi, Anne Margaret. She has that 28-day course.
Yeah, she gives it to people. She tells people about it. Yes, you do, Anne Margaret. You tell people about it. I know that. Yeah, that's really, really great. Yes.
Oh,
and one of the things also we talked about earlier, Kellee, was look back what you didn't do last year, like kind of assess what you didn't do, or I think that if you do that in this year, maybe there's someone in the past that did you wrong, and take the high road, and maybe forgive them, because and maybe show a little more compassion, and maybe more patience, and bring them to someone's life. I had to do that recently with a relative, and I had to say to them, "You're too impulsive. You're not thinking of other people. You're just thinking about yourself, and you really need to see the bigger picture and how it's affecting other people's lives." And I said, in other people's energy, and you have to be responsible for your thoughts and what you put out in the world, and especially with your family and friends, you've got to be held responsible, and you know better. He goes, yeah, I do. You know better. So don't blame anybody else. We all know better. We know what the right know what the right thing is to do. So I said this year, do the right thing and make somebody else's life happier.
You know what, James? That should be a resolution. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Yeah. And take a pause.
Pause button. Pause button. The right or the wrong. Pause button, right or wrong.
Oh my God. Shelley Klein says she's so excited about that you're writing your new book. When will it come out? She's been a fan of yours for 40 years.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. That shows you all day. My goodness. The reason this book came out was I wanted to write a book. My last book was 7-8 years ago when David G talked about it, Power of Love. And that was a hard one to top because love is love. And I couldn't really do anything more than that because that was said kind of all. But I was in New Jersey, and I think I mentioned this earlier this last year, on the tour in October, New Jersey. And I walked to the bookstore, and the guy goes, "Oh, James, how are you? You signed here." I said, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "People want a new book from you." I'm like, "Well, I thought about it, but I don't know what to write." He goes, "How about an autobiography?" I said, "I like that." So, yeah, so time has come.
I think that's so great. It is your time to do it, James.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Really. It will take off like nobody's business.
Another resolution will be, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Don't procrastinate. Do it today because you don't have tomorrow. All you have is today.
Right.
Really, really true.
Well, this is interesting. Renee Rossiter says, instead of waiting until we cross into the fullness of spirit for a life review, maybe we can do this for the new year. So, Renee, you must be psychic because James and I actually talked today. We're going to be doing a show on this because I know many people right now that are doing a life review while they're alive, doing a life review, and even writing your book, James, just from the beginning of it, it's a life review. And you started seeing things from the book as, like from the time you were a baby, all of a sudden you start seeing a crack in the wall and then it opens up a lot of memories for you.
Well, Kelly, thank you. Now you just gave me the ending of my book because what I'm going to do is the ending part of the book will be what would I change differently in my life?
Oh, okay.
That'll be it.
Interesting. What would you change differently? Interesting.
Right. So and we're going to have someone on. We're going to have a specialist on our podcast here about having a life review while you're still in the body.
Yes.
Really important. Dr. Linda Beckman talked about that. We had her on the show, and it's really, really important. And I do think, Kelly, it's becoming more and more a popular thing that people starting to talk about that. Yeah, a life review on the body. Yep.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh my God, everybody's looking forward to your book.
Yay! Well, it'll be a while. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Spirit takes over. I don't know how it's going to be published, where it's going to be. I have no idea, but I know there's a plan. There's a plan.
There's a plan. Lisa Michelle says, my goal is to consciously experience each moment wherever possible, like right now with you lovely souls. Oh, Lisa, that's such a great one. To remain conscious, living in the moment.
Make the best of each moment, because that's all we have are the moments. And we have our life when we pass out of the body. We look at the moments in our life, right? And memories are made here, not on the other side. So that's where memories are made, down here, not over there.
Sure.
Very, very good. Okay, Kelly. Well, Kelly, thank you very much, and happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, James, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you, everybody. Happy, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.